Yeah, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Canon Fire TV, the channel for the likely lads over here in the UK, at least. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the game last night against Crystal Palace, and we might be talking about maybe some contentious refereeing, maybe, and maybe some transfer news, possibly somewhere in the middle. But before we get into that one, I want to say hello to John Nageza. It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, man, how's it going, lads? Yeah, it's great to be back on the show with you fellas. Really appreciate it.
John, is that a
Yes.
Y front next to your left ear?
Yeah, man. Darth Vader's got his Y fronts on, man. X-rated, Y-rated. He's a gooner. I'm trying to find my phone, lads. Don't know where
Whilst John's trying to do that, Ralph,
me
who's
pocket.
the presenter of the watch longs, I thought he did a sterling job last night, Ralph.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. And it's not just me. It's like John Laguna and Colin with quite a few highlighted points over the match. Ashley D, my wingman, and our resident Liverpool stroke Arsenal fan, Carl, as well. So
Yeah,
those guys are in the chat, as well as Emerson. Not forgetting Emerson.
yeah.
There's quite a few others, but it is what it is. It's me just ranting nearly, and you guys just joining in and agreeing or disagreeing. So it's all good. I appreciate that, though.
Yeah. So the game ended up 1-0 in the end. I don't know. I mean, for a team who's supposed to be purportedly wanting to win the Premier League, this time round kind of came close last season. I wasn't really convinced, John. Though is
Sorry, sorry, thing. I'm just going to come back in one sec. Sorry, lads.
Okay,
Cut us
no
off a
worries.
sec.
Yeah, no
It's
no
worries.
urgent,
worries.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Yeah. So Ralph, yeah, wasn't really convinced with I don't know the performance, man.
Yeah, it was kind of. I've been watching other streams over the last few hours, and everyone has their own point of view about the match last night. Um, they're having to put Partey as a right back is baffling. Havertz kind of he's in the squad, he's in the team, but he is not present, as it were, on the pitch.
Yeah.
He disappears. I think it's something that we used to complain about, if I have to be honest, of other players, other past players who tend to be on the pitch but not present or not doing what we expect of them to do. And then
Sorry,
of
lads.
course
I'm back.
there's the Eddie Nketiah situation as well. He had two chances, and I was kind of like lambasted him, but then he earned the penalty for us. So it's a game that kind of like I think kind of suited Crystal Palace because they got nothing to lose. They have the low blocks. They had a few chances actually as well. And I don't know what Arteta's doing. I mean, maybe I'm not meant to know what Arteta's doing. I think us as Arsenal fans are not really meant to know what Arteta's doing because so far it's 2-2. He's won two matches,
Exactly.
and as far as he's concerned, his tactics are working, as baffling as they are.
Mm. John, your thoughts about the game? I guess we're going to be talking about the refereeing decision. Your thoughts about the game, John?
Yeah. Well, do you know what, Alex? I'm going to ignore that referee because I think it's going to be like that all season. They've got these new rules, and I was looking at them, and I thought straight away to myself, yeah, this way we're going to be straight in the thick of it. We're gonna get it full on. Sure as sure, it happened. I mean, soft as anything. I don't know why he got sent off. That was worse than the Martinelli one a few seasons ago, but. That decision now needs to be reversed somehow because that's absolutely scandalous if you ask me. But
Mm.
away from that stupid decision, the game, I think it was a typical sort of George Graham night, weren't it? 1-0 to the Arsenal, digging deep. I
Yeah.
keep saying, yeah, we're going to beat everyone 3-0, but you've got to be realistic. Crystal Palace are a well, not top draw team, but they know what's going on. They can beat teams on their day, and they've got the ex-England manager Roy Hodgson. There's no mugs in that squad, and I think we were the better team even before that. We got the sending off, and there was no way we was going to lose to them. But
I don't know. I think that it, with a couple of chances, it could have been backs against the wall. They had two clear cut chances which went wide, and Ramsdale saved one as well. So I got a feeling that it could have been. I think we're lucky with the win. If I have to be totally honest, Alex, I think we're lucky with the win. I'm not really convinced. I'm not, it's I know it's still early doors. I know that we've got to be patient, and we've won two now, but I don't know. I'm not really excited. Get excited was the slogan last season or season before. Now it's more okay. Well, what?
Yeah, yeah, and also as well, about this guy here, Havertz, survived until the end, didn't he? They were thinking that you still need your attackers up front. You still need your target man or target men, and he took off Martinelli, and Martinelli just was not happy. Wasn't happy at all, was he? But yeah, Isaac, brother Isaac is with us. What's happening, brother? Long time.
Isaac,
Hello, brothers. How are you?
We're good, man. We're
we're
good. How you
good.
been keeping?
I've just come from church. Services have
oh,
started. That's why I'm late. But I'm here. And my young daughter is she's
Hello.
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 little Gooner.
Hello, Guna. Yes.
uh, so we are from church, and but I'm glad I made it.
Good, good,
Yeah, we're
good.
glad to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, your thoughts, brother, about the game last night, Crystal Palace?
Oof, it is a hard place to go to. But at the end of the day, what matters is we got 3 points, despite the fact that there are a few rules that have been added or changes in rules. It was disappointing to see Tommy get a red card, but it is expected that this season we might have so many red cards in the Prem because of the new rules that are in place. But the display was not a good day in the office, but we got the results. Had we played that game 2 years ago, we would have lost that game. But I'm glad that we found ways of winning ugly. That is what I will say. Despite the fact that their pundits were not giving us credit, and I'm wondering why do the standards change when it comes to Arsenal? But I'll understand we are a big club. That is why they are always shifting their goalposts. But at least we
Yeah,
got the 3 points. It's a good result for us. So we can build on that and just to put it out there for the fans who are we are not great, or there are only 3 teams out of the opening 2 games that have maximum points. That is Brighton, Man City, and Arsenal. So that tells you the Premier League is becoming more hard. It is becoming harder and harder. So we've got to give credit where it is due, and let's be a fan base that understands or that critiques football uh, where it is due. We give credit. I see so many people criticizing the likes of Havertz that he is not up to standard or he's not Arsenal material, but they forget the kind of work this guy is doing off the ball. So if we are to critique someone, let's also take into consideration the kind or the amount of work that they put into place when they are off the ball. That's all I can say about that.
Okay. John, yeah, John, you're back now, John. John? Oh, he said his signal's quite weak. All right, John.
Can you hear us, John?
I'm back and all right. I can't see myself, but yeah, great. I couldn't hear Isaac too much. That's better. That's better.
That's better.
That's better. That's better. Yeah.
Same with me today. It's not doing me any favours, mate.
Well, there's Y fronts. You need to move from there. I think.
All right, there.
Yeah, go on.
Your signal's weak, John. John?
No, it's gone again.
Yeah, the signal is quite weak. Isaac, so I just want to push you a little bit on Kai Havertz. Definitely, I don't think Mikel Arteta brought him to score goals. That's not his strongest point. I think, as you say, finding the space, maybe the interceptions, running off the ball. At £65 million, surely we could spend that money on maybe a striker. No?
He's not. Havertz is good. Not going to give you 20 goals. He might give you 10 goals. And I'll understand. I understand that he did not specifically bring him to score goals. He wants him to find space.
Isaac, can you put the microphone closer to you? Because we can just about hear you. Your microphone needs to be closer to you.
Can you hear me now?
That's better.
That's better. We can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying Havertz will not give you 20 goals a season. He'll probably give you 10 or 15 goals. And he was not brought in as a striker. He was brought in as a Xhaka replacement. Most of us have not understood, or most of us are confusing him with a number 9, but he was brought in as a Xhaka replacement. So he's to find space, and that is his one of his.
Oh no. Isaac as well, Ralph.
Can you get me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah.
We can hear you. Go on, Isaac.
Someone was calling, but I had to decline the call.
Oh right. Okay.
We appreciate that.
That is why. So I say he's peeling off players and just finding that space. That is something that Arteta wants, to find space when you are in
That blessed signal again.
No, I think someone's called him again.
Yeah,
John's back. John.
I'm moving around the house trying to get a signal.
Away from Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader, man, it stitched me up. Go on, lads, recapping our.
So John, about. We're actually just talking about Kai Havertz, but I don't want to literally, hammer the guy because, again, it's only the second game of the season. But I think you were quite right in saying it looked like a George Graham game, didn't it? 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if that was the intention to grind out a result. It was a strange sort of starting 11, wasn't it? It was a bit disjointed, and players were playing out of position. But we never looked like we were going to lose the game. But we looked. We're so used to attacking all the time. I think Arteta's realised you cannot keep attacking 24/7. You've got to have a plan B kind of thing. But I thought Havertz had a good game, man. He put himself about. I don't know what people expect him to do. They can't always score goals. If you ain't scoring goals for Arsenal, immediately you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Eddie had a chance. They didn't have that many chances, did they? To be honest,
No.
a great game to watch.
Yeah.
But it was a well-earned 3 points. You take that all day. you can't always get goals. You can't always win entertainingly. I think Arteta's realised that. He's a bit more wiser to the game. And I say, Hodgson ain't a mug. He knows how to defend well. He knows how to put a midfield out that's going to stop you. And what I will say, I meant to say, Alex, I think I've got this wrong, but I think Saka, that was his 82nd consecutive game. I thought he had the record for that, but apparently he's tied
record.
On 82 as well. But that is some record, and realistically, I think we've got no covering for him, and he needs a break, doesn't he? I've got a feeling they're going to go for the 100 games for him to try and smash the record. But they're going to kill him, man. He needs to come off. He needs a little break. I thought the subs that came on done really well, Alex. So they really sorted it out.
Yeah. Well, Martinelli
1-0 down against anyone. Down to 10 men against anyone is a hard day's work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still 20 minutes left. They could have buckled under the pressure, Arsenal, but I thought they all really well for each other, and they well deserve the points. Arsenal fans can't have no complaints with that. It wasn't pretty to watch. As I say, the referee in the game think what's going to happen. Personally, that red card should be received. You know what I mean? But I think you're going to get this all season now. All season, mark my words. This ain't the first time. And to be honest, if that ref played the letter of the law, some of them players should have been sent off for surrounding him and that. But there's no consistency in the refereeing. And you could talk all day about that, Alex, in another subject. You know what I mean? It's just boring. You've got to accept it. The bad refs, the bad VAR, you know what I mean? That's how it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, let's
yeah,
hope the new
for the
direction.
fans, it probably weren't the greatest game to watch, but for the 3 points, well deserved.
Yeah. Ralph, go on, Ralph.
Yeah, I was going to say if I can jump in, just observation-wise from when Isaac was talking about Kai Havertz, and you can't expect anything from him. It's his second match in. His price tag comes with a real level of responsibility. He played for Chelsea. He's a German international, and I would have expected from what I saw last night. He did run around a bit, but to me, it was like Rice did the things that we got him in for. He made the tackles, he made the interceptions, he made the pass that Eddie could have scored from. And I was thinking that Havertz, when the price tag alone says, right, you're Premiership ready. I know that he's probably trying to understand how the Arsenal play compared to the way that Chelsea plays, and it takes a while to adapt. But I still think that he's a bit underwhelmed. Maybe it's going to take him a bit longer for him to get used to the way of playing. But we don't have that luxury of time. We've got Fulham next match. I think Arteta's going to use the same kind of tactics that he has done for the first two, because they don't have that real go threat now, like they would have done last season. The real acid test would be Man United. And the way that Man United is shaping up, okay, they may have lost at the weekend, but we always seem to have a tendency, and call it early, we always have a tendency to let them off the hook when we play so much better than they have. And I want to know how Kai Havertz, what kind of impact he's going to have in that role when he comes up against sterner opposition. The other part of the segment I want to take on as well, with the way that Arsenal played last night, it was, as I mentioned, a bit of an experiment. Colin mentioned that it was an experimentation, and they had their lab coats on. These kind of situations, you're meant to do these things during pre-season. I don't think that the way that he set up the team during pre-season is the same way that he's played the teams within the last two matches. To me, he's still tinkering. And what happens when a team goes down to 10 men? Well, last night was a good example because he put the subs on as we said during the stream within the 70th minute. He put the subs on, and regardless of the offence that Tomiyasu did, Rice did say in the after the post match interview that the referees always tell the teams what's going to happen. So in a sense, you have to take responsibility. It could be a soft yellow. It could be a hard. I mean, I said in the stream that if the referee didn't give Crystal Palace a penalty, then he should have given the player who went down a yellow card because that's simulation.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's many bits we can pick and choose, but at the end of the day, all the players know. The only thing that I would suggest, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, in the Women's World Cup, the referees had to give a reason for a decision. Now, this game has been going ages, and the technology is there. It's there in rugby, it's there in tennis, it's there in cricket. Really, it should be there in football as well. Premiership football, where the errors, the margin of error is so marginal that a yellow card, a player being sent off, a decision, whether you draw the lines in the right way or the wrong way, can make a team either stay in or go down or win the Premiership. So there is the technology there, but we have to be savvy in the way that we do our things. We can't keep on giving away cheap free kicks in areas that hurt us. I said this last season. We can't keep on having to try and walk the ball into the net. I said that last season. What is it with this team that is not learning the examples of last season and trying to emphasize that, you know what, let's try and mix it up a little bit. You said it yourself last night, Alex. You got Martinelli, and you got Havertz, and you got Saka. What's wrong with swapping? What's wrong with trying to put I think it's Ayew for Crystal Palace under pressure? He was on a yellow as well.
I didn't think Martinelli had a great game last night, Ralph, to be honest.
He had a great game, and you can tell that he was frustrated because when he was subbed off,
He wasn't happy.
he didn't want to talk to no one. And I am kind of, while I appreciate the passion a player has, sometimes you have to try and manage it, because in the next match, if the same thing was to happen again, well, I don't think it will, but if the same thing happens again and he shows that kind of dissent, then that's going to be a problem for Arteta. Arteta needs to have a word with him to say, look, the reason I took you off is tactical. You have to be on board. But, balancing egos is another thing I think Arteta's not really that strong on as well. So I think Martinelli at this moment in time is probably thinking he's got one up on him.
Yeah. Isaac, as Ralph was just saying there, it seems like it looks like Arteta's still experimenting, because you've got Thomas Partey playing an inverted right back.
That's a good response.
I will say, last season there was an analysis that was done on Arteta by the Brentford manager on how Arteta plays, and he did an elaborate analysis on the style of play of Arsenal. And I was like, if an opposition manager can make such analysis and he is spot on, you've got to be unpredictable. And I'm guessing that where Arteta feels he's going to have much of the ball, he's going to use a back three, because he knows otherwise he's going to have a greater possession of the ball, so he's going to go with a back three. So expect in most games where he feels that he's going to have a higher percentage in ball possession, he's going to use Partey primarily at right back, but ideally he's not going to play right back, he's going to invert. So he's using a back three that is just a shadow cover that he's playing right back. He isn't playing right back. He's in the midfield. He's using a back three, ideally. But a game where he knows is going to be 50-50, or a game where he knows I'm playing Man City, or I'm playing a team that is playing attacking football, he's going to revert to his back four. So he's trying to twist his game and become more unpredictable like he was last season, because last season you knew if you shut down the wingers, then we were done. But this season is trying to even go through the midfield and create overloads. There is one of my colleagues yesterday, when the lineup came out, it was like, you see, we have Pate at the right back, and I told him Pate is not playing right back; he's going to invert. And then he was like, and we have Martinelli, and he was asking me, what did Trossard ever do to Arteta to be benched all the time, and he's having fantastic playtime when he comes on? And I told him, I understand. Uh, they have all got to fight for positions, and that is what he wants. That whoever comes in, there is no drop in quality. Whoever comes in fits the puzzle perfectly. And we Raf talked about Martinelli being frustrated when he was subbed off. If I am a manager and I sub you off and you come out all smiling, you are up for sale. I will want to see a player who wants to fight, but at the end of the day, do not overdo it. Do not exaggerate it to the point that you become that is big-headed. You've got to show passion. You want to continue, but at the end of the day, show me that you are disappointed to have come off, but you understand it was a tactical decision. You are frustrated as a player. You did not continue playing, but if that is what it took for us to win the game, you understand and you are perfectly okay with that.
Okay, okay, point taken. John, a quick question for you, John. Would you rather, because we're of the era of 1-0 to the Arsenal, even though the football wasn't kind of pretty, was it? But would
Oh,
you be
yeah.
happy if we played this style of football for the rest of the season?
Yeah, mate, if we win the Premier League, I couldn't
Yeah.
care less what we play like. Don't bother me, mate. I think we've got to mix it about. I think you've got to have 2 or 3 styles. We've never sort of
Yeah,
had a plan B. I've always
yeah,
moaned that Arteta, where's your plan B, mate? But he's got 22 players now as covered. You know what I mean? He's got a big enough squad to have a plan B. There's no excuses. Yeah, Alex, I don't care as long as Arsenal win. Boring Arsenal, mate. I was
yeah,
brought up on that, and I
yeah, yeah,
never
yeah,
knocked it once, mate. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't always win pretty. Of course, it's better. It's football's entertainment, isn't it? It's better to see him play like that. But you know, it ain't all about that, is it? You've got to dig in. You've got to be like an heavyweight champion. Mix it about, take the knocks, get up and go again. And I think, as I say, that was not a pretty performance. If
Mm,
Arsenal win the title this year, which I think they will, people can say, "Yeah, mate, that was one of the performances that got us started." You know what I mean? If it was a 4-0 win, we'd all be going, "Yeah, this is it. We're going to win the Premier League." Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because we
yeah,
just about win, and we didn't win that well, but we done the job. And I don't get this stuff about Havertz. I think he's all right. I think he's a good little player. It's going to take him time to adapt. I'm not sure of Arteta's style this season. I really ain't, because he's already had to replace Timber, isn't he?
yeah, yeah,
So you got to think as well. Them lads, they would have been very nervous knowing that their teammate is out all season. That's a real sickener morale boost. You know what I mean? That get away from how much they earn and all that lot. They just want to play football, and to see their mate just come and started, and he's out probably for most of the season.
yeah,
It,
yeah,
it
yeah.
takes a lot of gumption to get up and go again, Alex. You can be quite nervous thinking that could happen to me, sort of thing. You know what I mean, Alex? So you're tiptoeing through the game. But and another thing, do you know what? Arteta, I don't think he's ever lost on a Monday. That's a fact. He's never. Poor
Yeah.
old Roy Hodgson. He don't like Mondays. But yeah. So Alex, I can't moan about that performance, mate. A win is a win, and onward we march. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could have ended up a draw, couldn't it? You know,
Yeah,
with that ref doing what he did. But yeah,
John,
Alex,
John,
if
what
I
do you?
may,
Sorry.
if I may, we
Well,
talked about the Havertz price tag. It is an unfortunate reality that players do not set their price tags, and it is the reality of football right now. The price tags are being inflated, and I cannot really believe some of the players, the amount of money they have been sold out for, and in this era where teams have plenty of money to spend, you expect that teams will be eyeing for the highest bidder, and that is the problem we have right now. I enjoyed soccer when that is during the Invincibles, where you could get a player at a, you you didn't even expect, or you pay so little for a player, but then you get to enjoy and say, this is the amount I paid, but I'm reaping. But right now you get a price tag slapped on your face, and you pay it whether you like it or not. You have, if you want the player, you've got to pay that price tag, and then you get that player. So it is such an unfortunate reality that players are getting themselves in, and it is unfortunate that they do not set price tags for themselves. And I watched an interview where Declan Rice said he didn't set his price tag. That is his club that set that evaluation out. And it is yesterday that one of my colleagues was dissing one of the Chelsea players, and he was saying, you guys, Caicedo and Lokonga in the same league, and you got Caicedo for 100 plus, and we have Lokonga. You could have come for Lokonga, and then you give us 100 mil. And at this era and moment, we expect going forward, there are players who will even get bought for even 200 mil, or even 300. But then let's not mourn about the price tag. For me, this season, I said, if Arteta says it is right for me. If he says it is wrong for me. Because we were mourning for a very long time, and he has brought life back to the club. And then why are we even mourning? And he has brought life back to the club. We were mourning that, oh, top four, that is our trophy with Wenger, and then we got Unai, and then he did not perform. And right now we are even in the mix where pundits are having discussions that Arsenal could push City, are the only team ideally that can push City like they did last season. We've come a long way to mourn. We should not even be mourning. Let's celebrate the wins. Let's critique, and let our criticism be solution based. Let's say if we having Havertz play 60 minutes, he cannot take 70 minutes. If Let's be solution based. Let's say if he cannot take 70 minutes, then he could play 60, and then we could sub him off and then have some fresh legs. That is the kind of criticism I'll want. But I understand that emotions drive football. If there is no emotions, then there is no football.
Yeah, yeah. But also as well, I think Isaac, is that we don't understand what role Havertz is supposed to be playing. I mean, you did say literally he's supposed to be the replacement for Granit Xhaka, but Granit Xhaka did score some goals. But is it maybe the fan base don't really understand what Arteta is asking Havertz to do in the team? Because again, the last 5-10 minutes, I got a little bit frustrated with Havertz because I saw him like just jogging around. I was thinking, come on, you need to get stuck in. But I'm thinking, am I being too hard on him because I don't know what his role is supposed to be in that first team there? I'd far rather see a
Yeah, the
Trossard
fan
than a Havertz, but that's just me.
fan base does not understand what Harvard's role is. And sometimes we've got to give time, but the something we do not have at our disposal because we want results here and now.
Yeah.
And if he's strolling around, let me give an example. Declan Rice is a defensive midfielder. We bought him because he was a fantastic defender. He's not doing defensive work at Arsenal. We're playing him as a second number 8. And some pundits are now complaining that we bought a number 6 and we're using him as a number 8. And I'll tell them, please, this is our club. If you're supporting any other club, you could tell that to the other club. But this is our club, and I understand perfectly. There are instances where you could have two pivots and they could defend, and the second pivot has a guarantee that he could go forward and he has cover. He's not like I can't go because there's no cover. He's guaranteed there's party cover, so he could progress the ball forward. And so if he brought in a defensive midfielder and he's using him as a box to box midfielder, that is somewhere he can evolve. Ideally, in the first place, Declan Rice has transformed from a defender. He was a defender and he became a defensive midfielder. And right now, he's becoming a box to box midfielder. He's an all round, complete athlete for me. And if one thing that Havertz has got to do, he's have that finishing quality. If he has that finishing touch, then we'll start celebrating.
Yeah.
One reason that we are mourning is because he does not have that finishing touch. If he has that finishing touch, like actually, what we are missing is Jesus. We are missing Jesus. That's why we are mourning, because Jesus could veer off players, and then he reappears in spaces where you do not expect him, and then he scores. If Havertz emulates that, if he could peel off players and then reappears in places where they did not expect him and then scores, believe me, you will be praising him all day long.
So there you go, Ralph. Stop complaining about Havertz.
No, you know what? I'm not going to complain. My observations are about
True.
the team as a whole. If you want to make comparisons, look at what happened to us last season. Nobody was expecting us to get as far as we did. When we played against Crystal Palace, I think we had 3 matches on the bounce that everybody was thinking that there were potential banana skins, and we beat them. And everybody, I say everybody in the Premiership was hoping that we would lose at some point. The loss didn't come until we had the return leg against Liverpool. After the World Cup, we play against Liverpool at Anfield. Then we play against West Ham. Then we played against who did we play against after West Ham? We played Man City. I think there were the
We,
three
we
the
played
three key matches.
Southampton and we drew.
Southampton and Man City. Yeah. So the four key matches. Everybody was waiting for us to fall, and we didn't up to that point. Now, if you're saying now Kai Havertz is meant to be a Xhaka replacement, that's not really doing Havertz any justice, because Xhaka, for all intents and purposes, he was pretty much a hard man that had a good shot, was very defensive, but if you want to go back maybe 2 or 3 seasons back, he was a bit of a liability, and I hate to say that, but he was. And up to the point where he was going to stroll off that pitch because he didn't want to come off and he was taking his time, nobody would want to touch him. But last season was a redemption season for him. And he became Arteta's man. And I don't think it's fair to put Havertz in that kind of role. Havertz is a totally different kind of player altogether. If you're trying to, it's like, for example, Arteta is saying to me, Ralph, I want you to be like Alex. Now, Alex is taller than me and broader than me. There's no way that I can be like Alex. So what you have to do, you have to utilize the skills that the player has got to the best positions. This is the reason why most of us, even though it's 2 matches in, we're mystified because Arteta probably thinks, you know what, defense is a problem, so I'll sort defense. But in the way, in solving the defense's problem, he's also nullified our attack. We don't have the same kind of fluidity as we did last season. I was saying last night, Saka is going to go out, and back in. I'm a guy who played the game. I won't be able to keep up with him, but I know what he's going to do. We all know what he's going to do. There's nothing new really about this team. You've got Trossard who's on the bench, who when he came on, if you look at our impact player, he came on and impacted the play, and yet he's on the bench. You've got Gabriel, who's a solid defender. Last season, between him and Saliba, we was the best defence, and yet you got him on the bench. You got Partey. I've seen a comment in here, and we go into it. Someone said Partey is world class. I'm sorry, but I don't think Partey is world class. I think Partey is a good player, but he's not world class. He may play on a world class platform, but what has he done? When people start saying world class, I'll say, okay, if they're world class, then what have they done? What have they impacted a match by taking the game by scruff of the neck? Partey did that last season against Tottenham. We was all calling him to shoot outside the box, and what did he do? He had about 2 or 3 shots within the season, and out of the 3, he scored 2 goals. So for me, world class means that you do it on a consistent level, not just domestically, but on the European level. We've got players that have the potential, but they're not there yet. Because if they were, we would have won the Premiership last season.
But Ralph, answer the question. I mean, no doubt if Arteta was on this pod, he would probably say, but Ralph, we got the 3 points. And that's the most important thing is.
Alex, I'll say to Arteta, okay, we've got 3 points. You know what? I'm gonna wait. If you're so entrenched with your fixed way of thinking, when we come against Man United, when we come against Liverpool, when we come against the revitalised Chelsea, despite them losing at the weekend, when we come against Man City, these are the teams that we have to beat. There can't be no hiding place, because the Brentfords, the West Hams, the Fulhams, if all our expectation is this should be 3 points. But we also agree that every team is a potential banana skin. So for me, I'm waiting for that potential time when Arteta is going to be so inflexible, because he is so right at this moment in time, because we've got 3 points from last night, 6 points all. We're third in the table. When we come against the teams that that don't care, we go to Anfield. You got to beat Liverpool at Anfield. We've got Man City. You got to beat Man City at Etihad. We've got Man United. We've got to beat Man United at Old Trafford. To me, then I can stand back and say, okay, well, then his work is in progress and we're getting the results. But to me, it's early. It's two matches. But if he's going to keep this inverted, if he's going to keep Partey where it is, if he's going to hope that Havertz turns into a Xhaka, this is going to be a rather long and it's going to be a challenging season. And I already said, and everyone can come at me if they want to, I already said that we're not going to win the Premiership. I'm as optimistic as I want to be. I want to be proven right. I want to be proven wrong, so to speak. But we're not going to have the same season that we did last season. Last season was the season when we should have done it.
Yeah.
This season, everyone's expectations is coming up. Everybody knows how Odegaard plays. Everybody knows how Martinelli plays. Everybody knows how Saka plays. Everybody knows how Ramsdale. If Ramsdale comes about 4 or 5 yards away from his box to try and lob him, everybody knows that. We know that. So what do you think the opposition is going to do? They're going to do exactly the same thing, but maybe harder and better. And regardless of the VAR, regardless of the referee decisions, Arteta is going to have to look at himself and say, is this team the team that I want to win the Premiership? And if it is, forget about last night, forget about Notts Forest. When we play against the teams that we should beat, we have to be not at home, but we have to be in away as well.
John.
So if I may jump in just for a quick
Yeah,
reaction,
John. Yeah.
uh, 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 drawing from Brother Raf's articulate presentation there, I will say, I will tell Ateta, or if he's listening, or if anyone is listening, to tell him, do not experiment in games where you'll get beat. If you experiment like you did yesterday, then be sure it is a team you are going to dominate. And then if you win ugly, well and good, then we are going to complain that we won ugly. But do not experiment in a Man City where you have Partey as a right back. You will get beat. Do not experiment when you're playing Newcastle away like you did. You get beat early in the morning, and then people will be calling for his neck. So he'll rather have his strong 11, his back four elaborate, and then have a strong team when he's playing these hard games. If you've got to experiment, then experiment, but make sure you win.
But
And then do
Isaac,
not experiment in a Man City game.
sorry, so just very quickly, but is that not why we have the pre-season? So those games there we can experiment and use an inverted midfielder in the right back position. But look what happened last season. We lost against a club that got relegated, Southampton, Newcastle,
Twice.
Nottingham Forest. So the Premier League over the years has shown us that the top teams can be beaten by the bottom teams and vice versa. There are no givens in the Premier League, so he shouldn't be experimenting in those first two games with a right back in Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey should be dominating the midfield. And like you just said there, shouldn't be doing that when we face the likes of Liverpool at Anfield or Man City at the Etihad. We shouldn't be seeing that. But I don't think, experimenting so early in the season, but he's gotten away with it so far, hasn't he? 2 out of 2 so far. But
Can I also add as well? I saw Newcastle's first match against Aston Villa, and they tore Aston Villa apart.
yeah,
But
yeah.
They tore them apart. They got no fear because now they're in the Champions League. They've got big money owners as well. We have to be very, very careful. I mean, we've got away. We lost to Newcastle. We lost to Newcastle. They are, without a doubt, one of the teams that we have to watch out for because they've got no fear now. They've got the money behind
Bright
them. They've got the
and
players
Brighton
behind
as
them.
well.
Yeah,
Brighton as well, but I
yeah.
think Brighton does tend to fall away mid-season. They do tend to fall away mid-season. But Newcastle, I'm not sure. I did mention Chelsea, but you have to beat these teams. It's again, there's no as alluded to. There's no given. There should be no given. But if a team that wins the Premiership wins the big teams at their ground and also beats them at home as well.
Yeah. John.
Yes, Alex.
Oh no, he's gone.
The question.
Is
Hello.
are you back in your submarine?
John.
Yeah. What was the question, Alex?
No, I was going to say, John, about because you played goalkeeper, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
What do
did.
you think about David Raya and Ramsdale? Are you happy that Arteta's got like? I mean, I've seen the stats of both goalkeepers, and they're almost the same
Um,
across the board.
I think it's great, right? Yeah, to have competition. There's a lot of games being had, so why shouldn't a keeper have competition? You need two keepers. We've got Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. What I didn't like, the noise around it, was that Raya was going to get his position straight away. Do you know what I mean? That's what I seem to get in the media. That, oh yeah, move over, Rambo. Raya's getting your position. It's probably just the media and the
Just
hype.
the media.
Even some fans. Rambo is our number one. He's earned the right to be there. He does need a break. I've seen him get a bit tired. He does make mistakes. Every world class keeper will make a silly mistake. That's a guaranteed fact. But yeah, I think it's great for competition. He's a better keeper than Turner, no doubt about it. I
Oh yeah,
wasn't that
yeah,
great on Turner. He didn't even get a chance, so it don't matter. Who knows what he would have been like? But yeah, why not, Alex? You have competition for strikers. Why not keepers? I think it's brilliant. But Ramsdale will always be my number one. I just think he's a great guy, which is a shame. Raya probably is as well, but he's a really great character, Ramsdale. But yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure the competition's going to work in favour for Arsenal. But what happens if Raya makes a mistake? Fans turn on
yeah,
players so easy. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? And that's the only thing I thought was wrong. The way they was kind of kicking Ramsdale out, especially after all the grief he's obviously gone through. Do you know what I mean? But no, it'd be perfect for them.
Nice one. Ralph, say anything else before we go into the live chat?
No, let's go into a live chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Uh, Isaac, do you want to say something quickly before we go into live chat?
I'll say it's a great competition, and I'll give an example of West Ham last season. They had Fabianski and Aleola, and Aleola did play in the Europa Conference League up to the end. So it's great to have such great goalkeepers. At the same time, I was asking myself, if you had an injury to Ramsdale, what happens? Then the next goalkeeper you bring in, you fall off the standard. But right now we have cover, and then they have got to that give that competition to one another, and it's going to work in our favor, I believe. And sometimes their stats are similar, but Raya outweighs Ramsdale in pinging the long balls. Ramsdale became kind of shaky. That is in pinging the long balls. He could do that perfectly. That is during the start of the season, but towards the end of the season, sometimes he was kicking the ball and then it goes out or it goes to an opposition player. But Raya pings the ball perfectly
Yeah.
to his teammates. That is long balls, and that is, I believe, that is one of the things that Arteta wants to use in winning games. That in a team that you cannot completely break down, then he can use, or you cannot outplay in the midfield. Then you can do that, pinging the long balls behind the compact midfield. That's all.
All right. Let's go into the live chat anyway and see who's joined us in this show over here. And we've got Ralph's Wingman. Hey up, Gooners. Lucky win. Oh, lucky win yesterday. Lucky to get into top four with the standard of performance. Oh, dearie me. John the Geezer. How is it, sir? That's from Guna Matters. Guna. It looks like the easy talk tonight. It's not the easy talk. We've still got a couple more weeks for that. Cannot hear you. That was the problems we had before with the mic. And this one's from, again, Guna Matters. Ralph, that's just it. Havertz does not need time. Reason I say this, Rice, man of the match performance last night. Timber hit the ground running by his injury. Havertz should be able to run with the system. Isaac.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I understand that all the time. Okay, we may need someone to sometimes blame when things don't go right, and he's going to fit the bill perfectly, because if he's got to show number one, he's got to be hardworking.
Yeah,
And one thing that impressed me with Nketiah last night, he was very hardworking. The only thing that he did not have is the finishing touch.
yeah,
If that if he adds that to his game, he will be a beast. Like Ateta was saying, he trained like a beast, and he told him, if I don't play this game, that is the Nottingham Forest, then you are blind, you cannot see.
yeah.
So they need to work extra hard. I'm impressed that Nketiah
bad.
Oh, all right. Okay, we
Then
lost Isaac.
he made us
Isaac, can you hear me?
fortunate that
Oh,
you can you hear me?
yeah, we lost you for a second there.
Can you
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's go on. Colin says, "Mad science. Hit that like button, slackers. I'm hearing an awful lot of PR mouthpieces on the YouTube say that Havertz was exceptional. Is there a law on record for the Kool-Aid indulgence?" I'm saying nothing. John. Let's go on. Aldrich, yeah, said there are only 3 games so far. 3 games? Well, two games. And I can say that Partey is my player of the season. What an amazing player. He's world class and unique. I think Ralph's already given his affirmation about Thomas Partey. I might agree to disagree, Aldrich, but good to see you back on the live chat. Here is the thing. I can't use fighting for position and habits in the same scenario or sentence. That does not make any football sense. I think I know what he's trying to say there. Holding your thoughts process, Isaac. Trossard has outperformed Havertz and Eddie at those positions. They're going for you today, Isaac.
wow. It's okay. I respect other people's opinions, and I understand that we'll have varied opinions, and it's good that we have these discussions. Yes, he has outperformed them. I also don't understand why he's on the bench, but you cannot have all of them playing at the same time. That is something that you cannot have. We're having a great competition that is in Trossard. Trossard, Trossard, Trossard can play in the Martinelli, Saka, or even as a false nine. But at times you cannot have it all. And perhaps I don't know what the manager is thinking. That's the whole problem. I can I don't know what he's thinking, or what he's trying to do. But yes, I agree. He has outperformed them. He's come on and he's made an impact. But I'm trying to see if we can have all players playing at that level and consistently, then we are going to have a great team. If it all works for the team, that everybody is going to be consistent and world class, well and good, then all of them should have their time or their chance whenever they get them. What can I say?
Yeah, yeah. Well, John reckons that Arsenal are going to win the Premier League this time round, Isaac. Do you agree? John.
100%, mate. 100%.
Wow, it is hard one.
It is hard, but
I
they can
I
do it.
reckon I reckon we'll push City. I reckon we'll push City. You know one thing, the problem is we last season nobody expected us to do that good.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then we set the standard for ourselves too high. So everybody expects us to do the same. If we do not do the same, everybody is going to crucify us.
Yeah.
We've got to match what we did last season, and not just match what we did, but we've got to do better than we did last season and improve on where we fall short. That is the three, like we drew 3 games in a row and then lost to Man City, and that is why we lost the Prem. So we've got to improve games like that. Kill the games early. Do not make silly mistakes,
Yeah.
and then go to Man City. If you cannot win, draw and win at home.
Yeah.
Beat Man City at home. Go to Etihad, get a draw at least,
Isaac,
and
you
then
sound
you
like a
can
manager, man.
push.
You sound like a manager.
I've been a manager. I've been managing, and I want to share this thoughts with Mikel and tell him, go to Man City, draw. Do not chicken out, because Man City, you've been beaten by Man City all over and again, over and again. Do not chicken out. Go there, the worst, get a draw, and then come home, beat City. And that's all we're asking for.
Hmm. All right, we'll go on in the live chat. Apollo 101 and Arsenal is one of our collaborators. He says that Havertz is being molded into the left side version of Erdegaard. Is he? Oh, okay. And it's working. His duels and defensive work last night was incredible. 8 duels, one. Wow. Okay, thank you for that, Apollo. Havertz was not the Xhaka replacement. Rice is the Xhaka replacement. Arteta stated himself, not sure where to fit Havertz in. Oh, okay, Isaac.
Rush, baby.
I like to respectively disagree with that statement, because I believe there are instances where you will get Rice only in a game, where Partey will be rested. So primarily he'll play as a defensive midfielder. And there are games where you might get Partey as the only defensive midfielder. So expect that this season. Ateta is trying to be unpredictable, and yet sometimes he's predictable. Because I was telling someone the other time, if I see Havertz on the team sheet, I'm sure Timber is playing left back. That is one thing I said before he got injured. If Havertz is on the team sheet, be sure Timber is playing left back. That is somehow some predictability, but Havertz Rice for me is not a Xhaka replacement. I like.
Can't hear the sound, Alex. That's it.
Yeah, sorry. So it's a question for you, John. It's from Nate, who says, do you think Fulham or Sheffield United could get a result against Man City without Pep? Because I understand, I think Pep has had surgery on his back, so he'll be sidelined until the end of September.
Do I think Fulham or what, Alex?
Sheffield United could get a result against Man City without Pep.
Who knows, mate? They may do. Who knows? 11 men against 11 men, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Personally, I can't see it. They're not the best two teams in the Premiership, but you can't discount it, can you? Anything can happen, mate. Luton could go out and beat Man City, and I'd love that. You know what I mean? Yeah, as you say, anything can happen, Alex.
Absolutely. Anything.
Personally, Alex, I think there's 6 teams in it now. Arsenal will beat all the others. It's the 6 teams: Man U, Tottenham, Man City, Liverpool, Newcastle United. These are the big in the mix. What Arsenal have got to beat them all. Beat them all, and they can win the Premier League. Have they improved last season? Because for all their improvement, we ain't won nothing. But we've got a big enough squad now to fight Man City all the way. Do you know what I mean? We could have done with that last season, but there's no reason we can't. That's obviously Arteta's mind, is to go out and win the Premier League. I don't think the Champions League they take much interest. Yeah. Premier League is the main one they need to win. And personally, Alex, I think they can do it. It just depends on players being consistent. I ain't got a clue what system they're playing at the moment, mate. I will say that. I don't know what system they're starting at. I think the next game, Fulham will be another different 11. And yeah, we won't lose to Fulham. Man United's the acid test, as Ralph said. You know, we should beat them in theory, but that's in theory, isn't it? Let's see what happens. Consistency is the key.
Yeah. Here's another one from Apollo who says, I thought we played well. It's a tough away game at Selhurst Park. The team won, and that's a good foundation to build a collective confidence, Ralph.
I'm going to stand by what I said earlier.
Okay.
I'm going to stand by what I said earlier. Yeah, okay. It's confidence. It's like you guys just mentioned just now, that there's no easy teams. and yet we're still expected to beat any team below the below six. It becomes a real acid test when we in 2 weeks' time when we've got Man United. It also becomes an acid test when we start playing in the Champions League as well. If we're in the group stages, what happens if we get bombed out of the group stages? Then what do we say then? What's going to be the excuses for that? Or if we go further in and then we start losing ground in the top four. What happens if we're out of the top four, but we gain a semi final or even the final of the Champions League? Will that be a consistent and well thought out season then? So for me, I stand by what I said earlier. Yeah, these are the teams that apparently we're meant to beat, but then there have been banana skins. Let's wait when the acid test comes when we play Man United at home, when we play Man United away, when we play Man City at home, when we play Man City away, Liverpool, and everybody else. And again, Newcastle. I mentioned Newcastle. I forgot to mention Newcastle, but Newcastle. Anyone that comes in with new money and players and the team is galvanized, they are a potential threat as well. And Chelsea outspent everyone, and yet they're not there yet. But then their form could click in at any time. So it's good. It's
Chelsea are
good.
getting relegated, Ralph, mate.
Okay, that
Chelsea,
sounds that sounds like more of a wish than say that's gonna. I always hope that will happen to Tottenham, to be honest. But let's see what happens when we play. To me, Fulham, not discounting Fulham. If Arteta's going to play the same way that he has within the last two teams, the same way against Fulham, and we beat Fulham. If we beat Fulham, then it sets us up nicely to see what happens if we're going to do when we go against Man United. And if we lose to Man United, it'd be good to see what happens with the fan base. Because, like you said, John, the fan base can be rather unforgiving when we lose.
Well,
It could be a great
if they
match.
lose to Man United, wouldn't it?
Right.
They'll all be on the Kool-Aid, as Colin says.
If they were the Kool-Aid, exactly. But yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
All right, there's one last one from Colin. He says, well, John, Raya has a performance record in the Premier League with better stats. Raya strengthens are equal to Ramsdale. Actually, I think we said that, except he is better fielding, catching the ball.
I disagree. I think Ramsdale, he's been in an up and coming team. He's been in a better side. We've been pushing for the Premier League for the last couple of seasons. I think Ramsdale's more experienced, more confident. He might not be so good on the ball outside or whatever, but Ramsdale's my number one. Raya, mate, your number two.
what I can say to that is that the difference is their age. We understand that goalkeepers tend to have more quality as they age. Ramsdale is younger than Raya. Raya is 28. Ramsdale is 24. So by the time Ramsdale gets to 28, he'll even be more, or he'll even be better than Raya is at the moment. We've got to look at where Raya was 4 years ago and compare to that. Ramsdale, for his age, he's doing exceptionally well. That he is competing with Raya at 24 years. So it will be an injustice for us to continue that is comparing the two, despite the fact that we are comparing, but we've got to see that this Ramsdale is younger than Raya, and we should appreciate that it is a privilege that we have such a young and talented goalkeeper at our disposal, and have Raya as his competition, and then we are privileged. I cannot think of a team that has two calibers or that caliber of goalkeepers at the moment that we have. no team has such keepers. Two keepers at their disposal. If you are deep into the this that is semis or quarterfinals or semis of the Champions League, and then you're playing, and then you also have a match at the weekend. Surely you cannot be playing the same goalkeeper. You playing them midweek and then you playing them at the weekend. Surely you cannot be. That will be a greatest injustice to a goalkeeper. But you have them two with the same qualities competing at the same level. You can have one playing midweek and one playing the weekend, and you get the same feeling. You do not drop.
Well, listen, we're almost come to an end on this show here, but I'm going to mark it. Today is what's the day? Today's the 22nd of August. Over here in the UK, it's 15 minutes after the hour 7 p.m. John. So you said Arsenal are going to win the Premier League, all right? If
100%. And Xhaka will be Premier League Player of the Year. Mark my words, Alex. I'll buy one of them yellow shirts if run around White Hart Lane.
You should remember that the Arsenal fan base is the most fragile. So if they don't win, they will hang you out to dry.
Yeah, I don't worry about them. They don't bother me, mate. My prediction is I'm sticking with that. It's Arteta's time. It's Arsenal's time. City are going to drop off. Let's see.
I thought our time was last season.
It should have been, Alex. I really did as well. But
yeah. But anyway.
Alex, can I mention one thing? Can I mention one other thing? I know we want to wrap up soon. I want to mention the England women's team. I mentioned it last night. I've got my shirt behind me, but I won't offend Alex. But first and foremost, well done to the women's team for the incredible effort that you pulled up over the tournament. My main concern is that it's a shame that when the players came home, that there wasn't given like a hero's welcome. There was a few fans at the airport, but there wasn't like a tour bus waiting for them or anything like that. I mean, they have the coach, of course, but it would have been really good if the FA had sorted out in a way to appreciate the fact that the England team came so close to win the World Cup, that they did put something out for the team. I think it's really disgusting that wasn't happened. Unless I've got my facts wrong, I saw it on the news, but if I've got my facts wrong, I apologise. But the team came back home and there's only a few fans waiting for them. So I want to say from Canal Fodder TV, if anyone's watching, you girls done an amazing job. It's a shame you didn't get over the line, but the legacy that you've got yourselves into from last season, last year, Euro winners to the World Cup, finalists. It's amazing work, and it means that lots of young girls and young boys are inspired by yourselves. So take it from us. I won't forget you, and I just hope that now the real work commences. So then the next tournament, you guys can actually bring back a trophy.
You're applying for a job, Ralph.
I wouldn't mind.
Anyway,
I think it's fair.
Anyway, listen, there's just the last two comments in live chat, and then we're going to wrap up this one. And Ralph, your wingman actually says, "Don't worry, we'll still have a Nico Pepe. He will save the day."
Oh, did you hear that? Potentially, he might be
coming back.
He might be coming back.
Yeah. So that's some good news. And last one, but not least, if John is wrong, he needs to dye his beard yellow.
No problem. And if John's right, Ashley needs to dye his hair red.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Nice one. We've come to an end on this one. And I think we've lost Isaac, unfortunately, right until the end there. That's a shame. It's a shame. But Ralph, wonderful stuff. Good that you came on last minute. And John the Geezer Gooner.
John the Geezer.
Have to call me Yellowbeard at the end of the season. we got that premiership in the bag, lads. Bring it on.
Okay. And Ashley says, what here? He hasn't got any hair.
He'll have to dye his head red.
There you go. And people, that is it until tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow, giving you some more live news segments. Maybe I might be joined again by Yellowbeard John, or my brother still. He's not. I think he's done an interview actually for the England team. Anyhow, people, thanks for coming on. And actually, it's come to an end. This Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Come on, yeah, yeah.